Hello and good day, Welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Tim.
And we are from supergoodcamping.com. We're here because we're on a mission to inspire other people to get outside and enjoy camping adventures such as we have as a family. Today's guest seems to be outside all the time, whether it's walking the dog, fishing, camping, hunting, shoveling snow off of a roof, trying out new gear, or watching the stars from a dark sky reserve. He's out there and often creating content. Please welcome from Rob in the Outside, Rob Spence. Hey, welcome.
How's it going, guys?
Thanks for coming out, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me. It's been a minute trying to get this one organized,
or a few years, however you want to look at that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and hilarious. So backstory for those of you that don't know, man, we've got to be coming up on maybe 3 years, something like that, since we first had that first chat.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, 3 years.
Sort of. I think we knew of each other, but we got yakking in the chat in one of Dennis's like Canoe Hound's shows, one of his live streams, and then at some point I think we yacked in the green room, and then we did a Zoom meeting to try to set this up. We've run into each other at the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show. You know, we've had all kinds of conversations. None of them on the podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, no, of course not. Yeah, we're done.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. No.
Bye. Shortest episode ever.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it has been 3 years that we started talking.
That's what tiny brain, but that's what it feels like. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and then I think 2 years ago is when we started talking about
probably 3.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's been 2 years since we've been trying to hook up to get our schedules to fall into place for an interview.
Well, you're a busy guy.
Yes.
Share some of the busyness. What have you been up to lately, man? Other than shoveling snow off roofs so they don't collapse and stuff.
Yeah. Actually, this last month and a half, I have been knee deep planning a hunt for deer. But what I'm doing is the 4 of us that are going, I'll get into that in a sec, but the 4 of us that are going, the 4 deer that we get, we are going to bring to the Brackenrig butcher, who's going to teach a butchering class to kids from the Watauga Nation and from the Moon Creek River or Moon Creek Reserve. He's going to give a butchering class to those kids, and then we're donating all 4 deer that's been butchered back to the reserves. So for the people that need it. The reason why we're doing the reserves is because I tried the food banks and the Salvation Army and stuff, and once they found out it was deer, they had no interest in it whatsoever. So I've been working with this place, Landscapes, about doing the hunt there on about 600 acres. And Andrew, who's part of our fishing crew, is coming on the hunt. And Wyatt Black from Alone, he was from Alone. He was the runner-up in season 9, I think it was 9 or 10. Him and his father are coming on the hunt as well. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last month and a half, is trying to organize that with getting some sponsors involved and then getting it all arranged. So.
Cool. Well, that's a whack of work to put together. Landscapes, is that they do a camping thing where there are canoes at each individual lake, and you literally hike, then you paddle back. Oh, cool. Yeah. I was checking them out. I've checked them out 2 years in a row at the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show. It looks like a cool gig. Like, it looks like that would be a fun thing.
Everything that they're trying to do with that whole, I think it's 40,000 plus acres. What they're trying to do there is absolutely phenomenal with the management of the deer herd. There's elk in there, the moose in there, trying to revitalize the trout population in a couple of lakes, like everything from the ground up, including the insects and stuff. They're trying to rebuild that whole ecosystem, which is absolutely phenomenal. So. Yeah, and we've been planning our spring trip.
I remember you're planning your spring trip through there. Yeah, okay, cool. When we saw them at the show, enthusiastic is not even close to what they were. They were so they're so behind what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it
Yeah.
was awesome to see that kind of passion.
Yeah. And then our spring trip actually is, sorry, I was going to say, we're not planning it through there. Our spring trip is
No,
actually
no.
10 days in Algonquin. And then Andrew and I are pulling out for another 5 days. And then we're going back in with Josh again for another 4 or 5. So we're going to be gone for, I think, a total of 18 days.
When you say pulling out for 5 days, are you Bailey going back into civilization, or are you just going to crown land and then
No,
go
no,
back in again?
we're going into Crown Land. Andrew and I are going to go fish a couple of lakes just on the outskirts of Algonquin. So yeah, we're not coming home.
Cool. Yeah, I wouldn't. Let's
Yeah.
bye. See you in 20 days or so.
Yeah.
Cool.
So is this your full-time job?
Um,
That you get to camp?
I'd like to turn it into that. I don't know if it will ever turn into that revenue wise. Like I make a few bucks here and there. I don't make anything off any of my sponsors financially. It's more of a barter system where I get stuff from them and I promote the hell out of them. But I still do side jobs here and there. But my side jobs happen when I get back from a trip and the wife says, "You've spent too much money. You need to go to work."
Yeah. I used to do some contracting. I know how that works.
Yeah.
Fishing. You're a fish nut. Like you tell us how passionate you are about fishing. I've seen a whole bunch of your videos, which we'll make sure we reference your YouTube channel. You're a way better fisherman than me. You love to do it like as often as you possibly can.
Yeah. I've always been a spin cast kind of guy. Like I love bass and pike. Like that's what got me started. And I was doing that for years. When I first moved up here, probably about 5 years ago, I'd be on the water from 4:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And that's it. The wife would paddle out once in a while at lunch to come and have lunch with me on an island or something out on Cooch. And then she'd head back in and go do what she had to do. But I would stay on the water. And then I kind of pulled away from fishing a little bit because I got heavy into running some rivers and then doing a lot of these backcountry trips. And then I met Josh and he put a fly rod in my hand. And I tell you that now that I've picked up fly fishing, until you get into it and get into a river and hook a big one and fight, it's hard to explain where the passion comes from it. Like it's just such a thrill. And the trout are just the brook trout and the splake and stuff. They're just absolutely beautiful, beautiful creatures, like stunning. And pound for pound, I think they're the best fight. So yeah. And yeah, as often as I can. Yeah.
So did you grow up camping and doing all the outdoor adventure things, or is this something you picked up as an adult?
My stepfather bought 75 acres in Wilberforce when he was 19. So I spent a lot of my summers, well, actually all my summers up until I was about 10 or 11 in the back 40 there. Like the second we were awake, we were thrown out of the cottage and we weren't allowed back until there was food ready. And I really got a passion for it there. And then, once I got into the electrical trade, I kind of lost touch of all of that. There was no more hobbies. It was work, work, work. And then the only hobby that I really picked up was, I got into, radio, internet radio, because I love music as well. And then, when I moved up here, I moved up here because I fell into a dark hole. My mom had passed away. I got in the middle of a nasty divorce, pretty much lost everything, climbed into a dark hole and brought a shovel with me to see how much deeper I could get. And then when I got up here, I got into the kayak one day and started fishing, and then I started going on a little couple of camping adventures overnight to fish, and it literally saved my life. And now I'm enthralled with it, and I can't. Um, the wife talks to me about it a lot. When I go away, even if it's for 4 days, when I come back, for the first little bit, I'm almost in a state of depression, which is, and sometimes I don't see it. I notice it when I go on my really long trips and I come back. I have a very, very hard time adjusting. Like, the wife kind of leaves me alone for a few days. I won't even go get gas. Like, it's weird to explain. Like, I love that. Not so much the isolation. Like, I love doing it alone. Like, I if my wife hadn't come back from Australia, I would not have come out of the bush. But she did come back, so I did come out. But just being out there and just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just listening to nature. It just, everything about it just, it heals my soul. And I hate coming back to, I love coming back to my family, to the dog, everything else. I hate coming back to everything that's outside of this house.
Yep, the world can be I'm trying to think of a nice word to use. It can be a bit of a hot mess, especially now.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I totally get where you're coming from. Like, I'm not me personally, I'm not a solo camper. I camp with either Pamela or one or both of our kids, or however that plays out. I don't need that space just for myself, although it's pretty easy to find that space. Like, you can still be with somebody else and be totally on your own. You know what I mean? Like, you can just do
Yeah.
that
Oh,
that
absolutely. Yeah.
nature peace zen thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, your story is not terribly unusual. We've heard very similar from a number of people, and it's
A
usually
number of,
some kind of something went sideways, things are crappy. I went and found solace in the forest, and it's been my go-to since. And that excites me. Like, I think that's fabulous. That shows just how much getting out there, the value of getting out there, regardless of how you do it, or what you choose to do out there. You run around naked, I don't care. Like, it's just get out there, man. Like, it's good
yeah,
for you, period.
exactly. It, I thought, to me, in my head, when I would explain to like the rest of my family what being out there has done for me, I almost felt like a whack job trying to explain it. But then getting into the community, and then talking to people where I started to, meet people that Dennis, canoe hound, absolutely. Like, I love what that man does. That chat and the people in that community, um, after getting in, after climbing into that and being accepted into it, realizing that my story isn't special. Like, there's a lot of us that have found nature the same way and found it as healing. And it's hard to explain to people, and until you experience it, nothing I say to anybody makes any sense, you know?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a city slicker, as they call us bad names, those of us that live in Toronto, but some of us aren't that bad. Just saying.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, as somebody who's been extremely urban for their whole life, that's been their life experience. They don't have any. I don't know what the right term is. Reference, maybe.
Mhm.
They've got nothing to compare it against until
Yeah.
they actually get out there and then go,
Yeah.
holy crap! How was I missing this my entire life? Because that seems to be how it plays. Like, literally, not everybody, but it's like, oh, I don't like bugs. Okay, well, fine, stay home. I don't care.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. My favorite
anyway,
question every year
uh,
around this time of the year is, what are the bugs like?
That'd be my question
right
all the time.
right now they don't exist. They're going to be
Yeah.
very bad. Then there'll
Yeah.
be a different bug that's going to be very bad,
Very
and
bad.
then there'll be slightly less bad, but there's still going to be a bunch of them. That's how that
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah.
And if you go near marshy areas, they're going to be very, very bad. And if you go away from marshy areas, they'll just be very bad.
Yeah.
welcome to spring and early summer in Ontario, man. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
whatever. If there isn't ice on the water, there's bugs. That's
it. Yeah. Yeah, there's 2 seasons, and that's bug season and ice.
Toronto is winter and construction, but yes, it's same idea. So we're recording this at the end of March. You guys don't have open water yet, do you? Or at least you're not fully iced out.
We're not fully iced out, but there is a lot of open water. I'm not actually. I'm probably. Cool. I'm a kilometer away from the falls, and I can hear them raging all night long. The flooding that's going to happen up here is crazy. A week ago, I had 6.5 feet of snow along the side of my driveways, and we're now down to about 3 feet. And the flooding's going to be bad. But yeah, there is open water here now, but it's not fully iced out. But yeah, it's the ice fishing season is over. So
yeah, no, I knew the ice fishing was over, but I saw just it happened weirdly. Been following the weather because again, we're right at the end of March, and we're here in Toronto. We're likely to get mostly rain over the course of the next 3 days. You guys are going to get whacked with all kinds of stuff: freezing rain, ice pellets, maybe snow. Who knows? You got a bunch of crap coming. So I was looking at satellite imagery. Well, yeah, it's up. What a yo-yo. Well, welcome to spring in Ontario.
Yeah.
But I noticed that Lake Simcoe still had an awful lot of ice. So I figured, because you guys are north of that, right? I figured you guys were still looking at the hard water type deal.
Yeah, it's weird because some of the lakes right now, you'd figure with this warm weather that we've had, like we had like 3-4 days in a row that were 15, 17 degrees. And you'd figure like the edges would start to go first, but some of these lakes, it's still around the edge, but the centers started to come out, and it's a few people have lost their huts.
That's creepy. Well, that's the Lake Simcoe because it's the closest. Sorry, Lake Ontario is the closest big body of water, but Lake Simcoe is the next one, like heading north, and that's what you hear. That's usually the spring cry is, oh, John lost his truck because he was parked on the ice.
Or the snowmobile
went through the ice.
Like I went down to Barrie the other day. I drove by Georgian Bay, and it's surprisingly, it has opened up huge. I thought Georgian Bay usually takes a little bit longer, but it's already coming down the 400 there. You can see like it's just open water as far as you can see right now. So,
wow, cool. Well, you'll be out in the canoe doing some fishing soon.
Very soon.
Hunting. Well, talk to me about what you hunt and how, like what, because I can see I'm going to use the wrong term, but I can see, yes, exactly. A thing that shoots arrows.
Crossbow.
What styles, like what do you use when you hunt, and what animals do you harvest?
So I've got a crossbow here, the Excalibur, and a recurve. I haven't hunted any big game with the recurve yet. I know it's an easier target than small game. I just haven't felt comfortable enough to take it with big game because the last thing I want to do is wound an animal. But all small game I hunt. I haven't hunted for coyote or wolf. I will never hunt wolf. I know there has to be a management program for it, and I understand that. Just me personally, I would never take one. With the excess of coyotes that we've had this year, I may start doing that. But basically, I'm hunting small game, rabbit, squirrel, porcupine, raccoon, and deer. I put in for my moose, and I put in for my elk. I've yet to get one. Hopefully this year. But deer has been my biggest pull so far, and I absolutely love it, and it's none of it's a trophy. I know I've got it on the wall, and when people see that, they're like, oh, it's a trophy. Well, for me, that's not a trophy. It's when I come into the house and I see that, my mind goes back to everything that happened in that moment. And for me, that's an appreciation of that animal that just fed my entire family. So, and it's an argument that'll never be won with animal activists and stuff like that. They all think trophy hunting. For me, trophy hunting is when you go fly overseas and you go shoot some big animal and take its tusks and brag about it and leave everything else there rot. That's not what I'm in this for. I started hunting because my wife and I decided that we wanted to start growing our own stuff, starting to forage. Prices are ridiculous. The treatment that commercial animal gets, I think, is absolutely disgusting. The stuff that they put in it once they've harvested it is absolutely disgusting. And I mean, you can't get any more organic than harvesting an animal that's been eating acorns and tree buds all year round. So, yeah. And bear. I forgot bear. I took my first bear last year, that was on my birthday. I have never in my life tasted a meat any more delicious than a bear heart. With all the animals that I take, the big game, the first thing we eat is with the wife. The first thing we eat is the tenderloins from inside. But the first thing I eat is the heart, and bear heart is absolutely phenomenal. I'm probably the only man in Canada right now who will tell you that raw bear meat tastes absolutely phenomenal. I got trichinosis and was very close to not making it. I cooked a tenderloin from the bear the same way I cooked my venison, and within 4 hours, I was not doing well. But I'll tell you, it tasted really good. So,
Okay, what's trichinosis?
Trichinosis are an easy way, layman's way to I guess the easiest way to explain it would be worms, kind of. But they're parasites. It's a parasite, and first it gets in, it comes out through your stomach, gets into your muscles. Once it's what's the term I'm looking for? Once it's laid its eggs and it starts to grow and everything else, it gets into your bloodstream. Once it's into your bloodstream, it instantly goes to your heart and to your brain. And once it's done that, you're done. There's no coming back from that. So, yeah, they figure when I got diagnosed with it, they had already gotten out of my digestive tract and had already started to get into my muscles. The pain was excruciating. I've never ever in my life. I woke up at 1:30 in the morning and felt like somebody had put both of their hands on my esophagus and were wringing it out like a towel. It absolutely, and that was probably one of the nicest pains that I went through in the first few days. So, yeah. And I waited a week and a half. Yeah, I waited a week and a half before I even went to the doctor to get diagnosed because I still had 3 deer tag to fill.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the wife said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned my lesson.
Well, I'm glad you're on the other side of that. Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was stupidity on my part.
Note that Pamela's looking at me, giving me some side eye here.
Yeah.
Stupidity. Yeah. Oh, I know a guy like that. Okay, well, off that sad note, back to harvesting. So what for you? So this is you mentioned it would always be, a fight you could never win with an animal activist. Well, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
that we are. I've done hunting myself when I was considerably younger. I've hunted moose, unsuccessfully hunted deer. We did full harvest, like the entirety of the moose. We took it to a butcher. We sucked at doing all those things. But we took the entirety, like man, we lived off that venison for ages. Like
Yeah.
it's a big animal, right?
Yeah.
So not my gig anymore. It's just a personal, same as you do it. It's a personal choice, right? Like that's what you choose
Yes.
to do. I
Yeah.
choose not to. But I have nothing. I'm not adverse to it in a not a Don Jr. rip the tusks off, go home with the the souvenir. I'm
Exactly.
That sucks. That there's no place for that in my world.
Yeah.
But as far as providing sustenance, etc., or providing sustenance for other people with the
Yeah.
same thing, I'm totally behind that. So how do you do it yourself? Do you have a butcher that does it? How does that work out that you get everything out of the animal?
So um, after I've taken it, I will clean it out in the field, and then I'll bring it home and I'll pull the cape off the hide. Um, I'll take the tenderloins from the inside. I'll take those off, and then I'll bring the rest to Reed, the Brackenrig butcher. He is going to teach me how to butcher it, um, but I like bringing it to him because it gives me more opportunity to get back out because I pull my whole 6 tags every year. So now I should learn how to do it myself. My wife wants to do it. She's already talked to Reed. He's going to get us a stainless steel table. And, I'm going to be part of that class where he teaches, the butchering of it and stuff. And so, yeah, it's something I do need to learn how to do properly. But nothing that I bring home goes to waste. I like right down to the bones, every single bone except for the ribs. Actually, no, even the ribs, the dog gets. Like we take absolute anything on that animal that I can't eat, my dog will eat. So, but my we feed Kiva a raw diet anyways. So, if I get 3 deer, she's got a whole one to herself. She gets half the bear as well. Um, we cook it for her though, so but yeah, Reed saves the bones for us. I bring them home. I take a sawzall to them, cut them all up into little pieces for them. Sometimes the wife will boil some of them, like get the marrow all soft and punch all the marrow out for her. And sometimes we just throw her the bone and let her go to town. So, but yeah, absolutely nothing goes to waste. Even the hides. I saved a couple of hides. The first hide I did by myself didn't turn out that well. But I did luck out because a buddy of mine said I could still take it and cut some of the hairs off and use it in my flies. So that worked out. So I kept a little piece for myself, and I've done a few practice runs at getting the hide to a workable thing for us. But the thing about deer hides is that it is so thin that if you do work it too much, there's not much you can really use it for because the leather's not as durable as other animals. So, but you can still make some nice stuff out of it around the house. So,
I, how much time do you spend hunting? I don't mean like, you spend 3 months out hunting, whatever that window is. I mean, like for an average deer, like do you spend from start to finish? I make the assumption you are scouting trails, potentially trail cameras, looking for feeding spots, that sort of deal, and then you go out and you're in a blind. How does that all play out? What is that length of that timeline from the time that you
so
start prepping to the time that you're bringing one home?
I start usually prepping around probably it's about the second week of August. It's after my oldest son's birthday, after August 15th. And then what I'll do is I'll look for certain areas for where I see some like heavy traffic, and then I'll look for a couple of rubs. And then what I'll do is I'll set a trail cam up, and if there is some traffic in that area, decent traffic, maybe a decent sized buck or stuff, then I'll start laying some bait and stuff to see if I can keep them in and around. And then if that works and there are some decent bucks in there, and when I say decent, I'm not talking about the rack. I'm talking body size. Like I'd love a nice rack to put on my wall, but my priority is the meat. So I'm looking for a big animal. I don't care how big its horn is. And then I'll lay bait to keep them around. And then come the season, which is October 1st for bow, and it's 2.5 months long. Sometimes I could tag out right on the first day. But my other 5 tags, I have to do a lot of traveling for, because when you get additional tags in Ontario, you get assigned you can pick the WMUs, but you have to travel. Like, you won't get two or three tags in a specific area. Like, you might, for, like, say I'm in WMU 57. So I might be able to pull my 2 additional tags in 60. I might get 2 tags there, but there might only be one available one for me. So sometimes with my first tag, which is good for anywhere in Ontario, and I've said it in a couple of my videos, like, man, I hope I don't regret passing that thing up, and it's not because I'm looking for a bigger buck or anything. It's because I don't want to come out of the bush. I love that interaction, being able to call them in, having them come in, that whole, and that adrenaline rush when you do make a call and it works and it comes in looking to see what's around. Like, I don't know how many times I've had my crossbow and I've had them dead in my sights, and I've just gone, yeah, I want to do this again tomorrow. Yeah. So I spent probably a good month and a half prepping, researching. My first 3 years of hunting, when I didn't tag out at all, and I think this is where I learned to love hunting so much. My first 3 years, I didn't get one deer. I couldn't even get close enough for a shot. 2 of those years I was doing spot and stalks. But in those 3 years, I learned so much about the deer, about the flora and the fauna, all in this area, the deer's habits, their eating habits, their sleeping habits, their travel habits. Like, it was like going to school, and it was, and I haven't learned everything. There's still a whole bunch I've got to learn, but the amount of information that I gathered, walking through that forest, and then, stopping, like taking 3 or 4 steps, stopping, looking around to see if there's anything there, to see if I hear anything and stuff like that. And then trying to figure out what they're eating and where they're bedding and that kind of stuff. That's, that has paid off for me now then. So I'm very glad for those first 3 years that the wife and I decided that this is what we were going to do, that I didn't tag out. Because if I just went into the bush, popped one, I wouldn't have learned anything. So to me, it's every time I go out, I'm learning something new about them, and I'm learning something new about the environment and everything. Like, it's crazy when you try to tell people that, like, even the bees in this area will affect what the deer do. It's a butterfly effect, and I don't think people understand that. And it's, and I love what I'm learning while I'm out there. And the wife likes to see the smile on my face, and she loves my passion about it. And I tell you, I couldn't do any of this without her. She is a patient woman, because come August 16th, I'm gone. And I'm like, for hours every day. I'm up at 2:30, 3 o'clock every morning, and I'm not back until well after dark. And that goes on right up until December 15th. And God love her. Like, yeah,
So I happen to see that you wrote a book.
I did. And you know what? It's funny. I was going to edit it and have it all proper grammar and proper English and punctuation and all that other stuff. And my son said to me, because it was my trip from Algonquin when I blew out my shoulder and my knee. And my son said, "Why would you do that?" And I go, "To make it like proper book." And my kid says to me, he goes, "That's not you. You're not all prim and proper, nice, smooth edges. Like you were like bleep, 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 you know, bleep, bleep, like you're straight up, you're a raw exposed nerve all the time. Why would you change that? Why don't you just go through it for spelling mistakes and just throw it up? And if people like it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't." And I went, you know what? Maybe I'll do that. So that's basically what it was. It was my diary from that trip. And, you know, some of the punctuation I fixed, some of it I didn't. I just left it as raw as I wrote it. Like I literally took my diary, put it in front of me, and just went verbatim everything. Like there's periods missing, commas missing, like. But that was my experience, and my son said that, and that's what my son said. He goes, "That's your experience. Don't change it. Just do it." And I went, okay. So yeah,
Kids can be
and it
smart
was
sometimes.
yeah, and it's really not an easy read because it's scattered. And, I think there's a couple of pages in there that I wrote while I was in the middle of an emotional breakdown on like day 5 or 6. So it's like gibberish.
What's the name of the book and where can people get it?
It's on Amazon. Kindle is what it's. So it's on Amazon, and it's I believe the title. I haven't looked at it for so long. I've still got the actual diary. It's a little tiny green book, and I think I just called it 15 Days Alone in the Algonquin Backcountry. So
okay, we'll double check that. We'll make sure it ends up in the show notes and stuff. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, because I think that's what it was called. 15 Days Alone in the Algonquin Backcountry.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well,
that was quite the trip.
We know a published author.
Yeah. Well, too, Kevin Callan as well.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. All he does is write books, though, like 18 of them or something crazy. Actually, it must be more now. I think it was 18 last time we talked to him. That's
it for us for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much to Rob in the Outside for joining us today. And please do check him out. He's on Instagram. It's Rob_in the Outside. And on YouTube, he's Rob in the Outside. So please do check him out. Check us out while you're there. We'd love it if you subscribe to us. And if you would like to talk to us or you have any suggestions, any ideas, any future topics you'd like us to cover, people you'd like to talk to, please do email us. We're at hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.